Hello guys, it's me Butterfly Spirit 314. So guys, I posted a video about a I Ching class that I attended, and this was a class I kind of just happened to find out about because there was a feng shui class that I wanted to go to, but it ended up being sold out. And so the following week after that class, I ended up finding out about what's called a I Ching class, or some people call it I Ching class. And so basically what the I Ching is it is basically a ancient Chinese system that's 3,000 years old. People use the I Ching for different things. So the I Ching is basically it's the book of changes. So people use it sometimes to get advice on what to do. Some people use it for strategy and things. Some people use it for as an oracle for fortune telling. Ooh, spooky, right? What I found in particular after I took the class, what happened is that before the class, I was kind of stuck in this kind of basically this like kind of stuck energy, so to speak, where like I really didn't feel much like myself. I didn't feel grounded or anything. But after I took the I Ching class, I found that after the class, like after doing my first ever I Ching reading, what happened is that I got clarity on a situation that had occurred or whatever, or that was occurring. And funny enough, it actually told me the future in a way. And I found it to be pretty interesting. And afterwards, I got this like clarity about the situation that I was faced with. And I found that not only did I get clarity, but I also got this like sort of like energy boost from it and like creativity that came out of it as well. So for me, it makes me intrigued more so about the I Ching, and it takes people years to learn about the I Ching, for example. It's a 3,000-year-old practice. A lot of people really don't know a lot about it. It's not going to be as sexy as, say, like tarot, for example, or using oracle cards or whatever. It's not going to be that type of thing where people like know about it. You know what I mean? It's really something, though, that a lot of light workers could benefit from. I mean, I know people get into stuff like they'll get into like chakras, and they'll get into like qigong. They'll get into maybe tai chi. They'll get into witchcraft, astrology, zodiac, numerology, all kinds of stuff, right? But the I Ching is not really something that I think a lot of people really get into because it's not as easy to like market it as say what you would do with like tarot or anything. So that's why it's not as sexy or whatever. But I found energetically it kind of got me out of this like kind of funk that I was kind of stuck in terms of like not knowing what to do and stuff in a situation, and it gave me clarity to know how to move forward, which actually helped me. And so the I Ching, like I said, is the book of changes. It's a system that takes people years to learn. It does have concepts in it, so it does have numerology in it. So number meanings matter. It does have its own symbols, which definitely takes some time for people to get used to. In addition to that, too, it also incorporates things like yin and yang. It incorporates the elements as well. And the I Ching, the elements associated with it is a lot more vast, than the four elements that most people know. So it's pretty deep, and to kind of get into it and understand it really takes some doing. But it is possible. But I did find it to be something that is helpful for me, and I'm just getting started in it. Um, when I was in class, I did a reading that gave me clarity and gave me more so understanding, which I found to be good. And the teacher of the class actually gave me this book, which is called, you can see it says I Ching here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like called the I Ching. You can see it says Book of Changes there. As you can see, it's kind of hard for me to like do, but that's what it says, I Ching, Book of Changes. Um, and basically, the I Ching itself, like this is a tiny little book, but there is a lot more that goes into this than just like being a small little book. So the I Ching has like these symbols associated with it. So, like for example, it has a symbol. Like for example, I'll show you like a symbol. So this is like what's called a hexagram. So this is like a symbol that you would basically create, and then once you create this symbol after doing your reading, then you would interpret it. And those symbols can get pretty deep, but what they do is they can help to give you advice on a situation or circumstance or something that you're experiencing. And so I only had one introductory class in it, which I thought was pretty cool, but I want to learn more about the I Ching. So it's not just as simple as getting this tiny little book. Now, some people do like small little readings. So to do our I Ching reading, what you do is you have, so here are these like little coins. So they have these little coins here that you use. And basically the coins are like, it's kind of like, I'll show you this other one. They have these coins here, and it's like you have like, I'm gonna put up there. So you have like, you would basically meditate first, and then after you meditate, then you think of a question or you write down a question that you have about a situation, circumstance, or whatever. And then what you do is that you would basically toss the coins. Um, and each time you toss the coins, what you're going to do is you have to write down, you have to basically write down the symbol that they have associated with like the whether you get a certain amount of heads or tails, for example. So you could get like three heads, you can get, three tails, or two heads and a tail, or, you know, two tails and one head, or different things. And that's going to have values that you're going to add up and stuff. I mean, it gets kind of interesting because you have to add the stuff up. But eventually, what you're going to do is you're going to end up with these different lines. And those lines are what eventually is going to come to build what's going to come to build something like this. So each of these lines is going to be the amount of times you toss the coin. So there's like six of them here. And these lines can change depending on which ones you get. So um, I know I've only had one class, but what I found to be really cool and interesting is that, who knew tossing coins could actually like help you to like understand a situation in a more like, maybe not an easy way, but it gives you insight into a situation, and it takes you like days to process, but it can give you an understanding about how to move through like making a decision, or like what step you should take to do something based off the advice from the I Ching. So I want to get deeper into it because it deals with elements and energy and the ancient Chinese wisdom and stuff like that. Numerology. I'm really excited about it. There can be some calculus in the I Ching, but it's definitely something that's really good for helping people to to develop a strategy or whatnot too. But it's definitely something that could be like really helpful for people. But like I said, it's not sexy because a lot of people don't want to get too deep into it because they don't know where to start and things. I'm about to go buy a book that's like a beginner book, and stuff, so I can kind of get more of a grasp on it. But that's a little bit about the I Ching, my experience with it, how it's been helpful for me. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And this book, I don't know where you would be able to get it because it was given to me, but it's helping me to kind of start my journey essentially and stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.